In this video, we will talk about the DSpace-9 requested features that are already available in DSpace-CRIS. So let's take a look to the feature proposed that are under discussion for DSpace-9 and in general for future version of DSpace. The first block of features is related to improving performance and scalability in general. Some of these activities are already ongoing in DSpace-CRIS, and some of them already have provided some results. The second point, for instance, in this list, has been already implemented in DSpace-CRIS, and we're going to backboard this solution to DSpace. The Ether installation and upgrade is an important activity that will be beneficial also to DSpace-CRIS. So our communities are interested in working together on these aspects, and the same apply for code cleanup and maintenance and for the modularization. The modularization that is already an ongoing project for the first step was introduced by Science in DSpace 8 would also make easier to modularize some of the features of DSpace-CRIS, making them more playable, so that only what is really needed should be enabled by default, and features that are more specific or related to a specific domain can be enabled easily without disturbing the other users. Enabling configurable entities by default was noted immediately as a potential alignment with DSpace-CRIS. This is because everything in DSpace-CRIS is a configurable entity. All the items are configurable entities. We will have a specific talk to explain why DSpace-CRIS provides better performance, functionality, scalability, and reliability in regard of the management of relationships. The need for a hierarchical metadata finds a perfect match with the feature already provided by DSpace-CRIS that has been demonstrated in a dedicated video. The last point is all about hierarchical metadata. So it's about the fact that when you create a relation among objects, often you need to enrich this relation with additional information. And this is indeed the use case of hierarchical metadata. Think about publication and person. You need to collect additional information that belong to this relation, such as the affiliation that was used to sign the specific publication. But as is shown in a different video, this problem has been solved already in DSpace-CRIS using hierarchical metadata. Let's take a look at the statistics in DSpace-CRIS. For that, I will use a real DSpace-CRIS repository that has no large customizations. So let's start looking at the site statistics. So in DSpace-CRIS, statistics are available and different representations of the information are provided. So DSpace-CRIS allows to configure different kinds of reports. These can be configured without code development by default. We provide the two configurations, one to show visualizations and another to analyze download of content from the repository. All the report can be based on the word data available in the repository or could be limited to a specific period of time. Google Map Mashup is provided so that using geographic information, visualization, and download of the content of the repository is represented over maps. We also have tables to represent number of views from the different continents or from the different views, or to focus on the most viewed content, so the item that is most accessed in the repository. And you can also see the growth of the repository in a number of visualizations over time. And this is not limited to just the last 6 months, but can go back to all the data available in the repository. And it can also be used to discover maybe anomalies into statistics, maybe due to collecting data about crawler or that was not correctly identified, or any other type of example. All graphs can be downloaded and exported as images. Statistics are also available at the individual publication level, but also at any other level of the repository. So we have seen the statistics for the whole repository, but you have statistics also at the individual item record. So in the item record, you get a summary of the statistics saying the number of visualizations, the number of downloads. DSpace-CRIS also provides integration with commercial database, metric database such as Dimension, Altmetrics, Plumex, depending on the data available for the specific record. Regarding to the internal statistics of DSpace, you can go to see details about visualization of this item into a poster, so you can see the prominence of the user that accessed this content. You can see the number of download or view of this content over time, and of course you can also see the number of downloads. Again, the kind of report that are provided depend on the configuration, and you're able to create additional report or to customize this report just by configuration. These reports are again available for any object in the repository. So we have seen statistics for all the repository. We have seen statistics for an individual publication, but the publication is nothing special. It's just an item that is the same for another profile. So I can visit another profile that in this repository don't have any special information, additional information other than the related object, and I can go to see the statistics for this author. The statistics of this author include visualizations of the author profile myself, but also statistics related to the publication linked to the specific author. So this tells you the number of visualization, the aggregate and number of visualization of the publication linked to this author in the repository. And again, you can also configure different reports, such as the number of visualization over time of the publication of this researcher. So right now, this basically really provides a lot of additional features in regard to the statistics compared to the basic DSpace. Another interesting example is related to features that were present in previous version of DSpace. Here in the list, you see the need to have the capability to produce a URL that can be solved also when the bitstream is removed and replaced with a new version. This is due to the fact that the previous version of DSpace, the bitstream URL, was based on the file name and not on the internal identifier of the bitstream. To demonstrate that this feature is available in DSpace-CRIS, let's use an example from a repository that recently migrated from a different technology to DSpace-CRIS. I'm talking about InfoScience, that is the repository of the École Polytechnique of Lausanne. This repository, up to 1 month ago, was on Invenio and just recently has migrated to DSpace-CRIS. As you can see, searching in Google, you're still able to find a reference to PDF file that reflects the old URL. So this is InfoScience apfl/report/files, etc. And this is the typical format of URL in Invenio software. So let me open to a network console. So let's see what happens when I click on this URL. As you can see, the file has been properly downloaded. So this is the PDF of the article in the EAPFL repository. But what is happening here? Of course, my browser has attempted to download the file from the old URL. This URL has been redirected by the web server to a DSpace-CRIS URL that is named like search, that using the information from the previous system, and more specifically using the ID of this record in the previous system and the name of the file, has performed the query in DSpace-CRIS and has reported back the current URL of this PC until the successful download of the file that is happened on the usual URL from DSpace. It's important to note that the same mechanism is not only true for bitstream, but can only be also used to just retrieve the record. So let's look at the result of this query. And in using this URL in DSpace-CRIS, you are redirected to the item in the new system that represents this record in the new system. Another feature that was present in previous versions of DSpace, but still missing in DSpace 8, now is the possibility that you had some fragment of text to present your repository, your initiative. This is supported out of the box in DSpace-CRIS. If we use the demo of DSpace-CRIS, if I log in as an administrator, the administrative menu I have Edit CMS metadata option that is indeed specific for this need. For instance, in this configuration, we have this row of the layout that come from this feature. So we need to check the fragment of text that we want. to edit. In this case, we're talking about the footer, and we can just edit it in any of the supported language for this site. Here you have an example where English, Dutch, Spanish, French are configured, and we can perform changes directly into the editor. Let's open another page to verify that changes have been applied, and you see that this is changed. This could eventually take a bit longer if the deployment includes some caching layers. The last block of features are also already implemented in DSpace-CRIS. So let's open again DSpace-CRIS demo. We use not our publication definition that will be to default for the publication entity, but we'll use the patent submission definition. So now we have created this collection, and if I start a new submission in this test collection, let's say that I want to create a new publication and this is a test collection, the submission will reflect the patent definition. So I'm asking for specific information about the patent, such as the patent number, the kind called application number, and things like that. And this submission, as you can see, is different than the one proposed for generic publication. Let's make an example. So let's create a publication into a publication collection, and you will see that the submission definition is different in this case because it's more tailored to a publication. So this was about the first, and all the other points are all related to the fact that a minister and the space item is quite complex in a plane DSpace. But in a separate video I will show you the edit feature of the DSpace-CRIS that essentially provide to authorized users the possibility to use very friendly user interfaces based on the same concept of submission to edit metadata about the item, to edit metadata about bitstream attached to this item, and permission of this bitstream. So this is to summarize which kind of features are expected by the DSpace community that are already provided in DSpace-CRIS. So all the functional aspects analyzed in these videos are indeed provided by DSpace-CRIS at the current stage.